So, Harmony 101. Finally, I'm gonna try and do a video about that. The reason I'm not filming myself sitting in a room and talking, it's because it's boring for me to do. So, this is gonna be the first part of a few in a series of videos, podcast. I don't know how to describe this thing. Hopefully, I'll make more of them if this one will be successful. As I said, this is Harmony 101, not one on one. This is not a private lesson. It's a video or whatever it is, and you're watching it on your smartphone or your any other means of, I don't know, the ways that you're watching it. I'm not gonna talk about how to harmonize a melody with a secondary melody, or how the voices should move in a fugue or stuff that Bach wrote. I will approach chords, how to look at them, how to build them, and a few ways that chords move and progress in rock, pop, and jazz. Before we get to chords, we need to talk a bit about scales and understand what a scale is, because harmony, as we usually know it, is built on a scale, major or minor. The word scale is a bit confusing because we don't measure anything in this scale. It's not like the metric system, it's not the weight or the distance of anything. It's a bunch of notes, and to understand it better, in Western music we have 12 notes. Each scale is just picking from those 12 and creating some kind of relations between them. Now, another issue I have with that is not just the word scale, it's the ways that we approach it. A lot of teachers will just tell you, okay, here is a scale, go practice it. And this is very confusing. Imagine that you're going to learn a language and the teacher is telling you, okay, here is a dictionary. And now I want you to write a poem for next lesson using this dictionary. That's the same thing as telling someone, here's a scale, I want you to make music with it. Now, hopefully you understand better what is a scale. So let's dig deeper into type of scales. There is major scale, minor scale, pentatonic scale, and a bunch of others that are even more confusing. Two things decide on the scales that we're using. One is the ways that we construct the scale, the ways that we choose which note of the 12 notes that we have we're going to use and which we're not going to use. So for example, in blues you're going to use the pentatonic scale, same as in hip hop and in rap. But in classical music you're not going to use the pentatonic, you're going to use either the minor or the major. And in jazz you're going to use the minor, major, pentatonic and chromatic scale. So for each musical style, you're going to use a different bunch of scales. The same way that for every language, you're going to use a different dictionary. So that's one thing, the notes that you choose. Second thing is the relations of the notes you chose to the harmony or what's happening beneath it or in relation to it. So for example, you could take only the white keys on the keyboard or just natural notes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A or whatever. If you're gonna play them over a C chord, it's gonna sound like a major scale. If you're gonna play them over A minor, it's gonna sound like a minor scale. The reason is notes gravitate towards each other, and the minute we put down a chord, it pulls the notes towards it, and it makes the syntax of our language change. The ways that we build our scales is by using either tone, semitone, or tone and a half. If we're gonna build the major scale, it's just a group of pitch intervals or pitch distances measured in height, and the intervals in every major scale, natural major scale, are whole tone, semitone, whole tone, semitone. In guitar, a tone is 2 frets and a semitone is 1 fret. On piano, each key is a semitone from the key next to it. And do consider the black keys as well. So if you have a key and a black key is close to it on its either right side or left side, that's a half tone, a semitone, and a tone will be 2 semitones. So for example, it's getting very confusing in keyboard when you go from C, you have a semitone to the black key above it, then a full tone, whole tone to the D next to it, the white key, then another semitone to the black key on the right of that, above that, a semitone to the E. But if you want to go from D, a full tone, a whole tone, you just go from the D white key to the next one on its right or left. But if you want to go from E whole tone higher, you're not going to use the next white key. You're going to count the keys, and you see there's a E, a white key. Close to it, there's another white key, which is F, and then you're going to go to the black key, the F sharp. That's the whole tone. So it's a bit more confusing on keyboards. And I don't know what's going on in trumpet and saxophone. Those instruments are just crazy. Like, to learn theory on those, God help you. The minor scale is also just as a major scale, just a bunch of height, distances, or pitch intervals, but a slightly different one. The minor scale is tone, semitone, tone, semitone, tone. If you start the major scale on its 6th note, by a freak coincidence, you would get the minor scale. It's a freak coincidence. They are not the same scale. And if you start the minor scale from its 3rd note, you would get the major scale. It's crazy, but they are not the same scale. It's just a coincidence. The universe is a strange and wonderful place full of small coincidences. That is to say, a major scale and a minor scale are not the same. If you got to so far, it's clear that you listened to the whole thing. If you enjoyed it, press the like button. It's the only way I could know that people are actually listening, and that gives me a good enough motivation to keep posting this stuff. Thanks.